All right. Hello there. I'm Max, and what I'm going to be doing from now on is basically when I am checking on what happened last night in the NBA, as well as looking forward towards that evening. So tonight, basically, um, whether I'm going to be betting on games or just taking a look at what happened. I have found that it is very hard to follow basketball, meaning to actually know what is going on with teams on a daily slash weekly basis is very difficult. And I'm just going to go through the process of what I do on a daily basis in hopes that other people will be able to follow the league just like I do. So I also sports bet, so I may be giving out picks from time to time. I might just be saying who I think is going to win games. But this is just a look at the league on a daily basis so that everyone can follow along. Okay? So, what happened last night? Reactions. Um, so, my roommate from last year is a big Kings fan, so I have a soft spot for the Kings. And last night, I thought they were going to beat the Raptors. Raptors are very beat up. OG's not playing. Precious Achua is not playing. So when we look at the starting lineup for the Raptors, I love this starting lineup. Chris Boucher from Oregon. Scotty Barnes is playing well, averaging about 15. Gary Trent is very capable. I think Van Vliet is playing the most minutes in the entire league. And so obviously we're not questioning their starting five. But when we look at the amount of players healthy for each team, I think even though Toronto may be the better team, the Kings here have no business losing this game. This is a game that if the Kings are going to make the playoffs, they need to win. And so I had Kings +6. We look, Fox put up 30. Great night from De'Aaron. 1 from 5 from three is a little questionable. But Harrison Barnes and Tyrese Halliburton combining for 6 points. Being outscored alone by Jay Justin Champagne, I think his last name is. That can't happen. And we see they got blown out. So, I mean, take a look. If I'm a Kings fan right now, I'm questioning my entire existence because that just makes no sense. You can't support a team that is showing up on any given night like that. Mark even said they have no heart. What are they even playing for? We don't know. Marvin Bagley back in the lineup. He's not really doing a whole lot. We can take a look. I mean, he's averaging 8 points a game, and I think at this point we can say he's definitely a bust. I think it's very safe to say. All right, looking forward. Last night, I thought the Hawks were a complete lock to win this game. They were up 10 the majority of the time. Eric Gordon made 2 late threes. He also had a couple turnovers. But, I mean, Houston is rolling right now. It makes no sense when you look at it. DJ Augustine, 22 points, only misses 1 3 the entire game. I mean, you can't plan for that. You can't plan. That's what's great about the NBA. These guys are professionals. On any given night, anyone can show up. And we're seeing that with the Rockets right now. I mean, Christian Wood last night misses every three-pointer he takes, misses over half his shots, and his team beats the Hawks. It makes no sense, but it does. I mean, Trey had 41. Obviously, Bogdan's out. Sharif Cooper didn't play. DeAndre Hunter's a big miss. But I mean, could have definitely had more from Herder, but so he's averaging only 11 points. I mean, you can't really be that upset if you are Atlanta, I want to say, because it's not like these guys went out and played awful. Clint Capella had a double-double. John Collins almost had 15. Solid bench production. I mean, yeah, it's just that's the league. One of the more predictable games for sure. Houston and Miami. No, not Houston. Cleveland and Miami. Cavs are absolutely rolling right now. I think they have the best against the spread record in the league. I mean, Kevin Love, I feel like I haven't seen him a ton. Let's look at his it's being funny. Let's look at his game log. So I mean, he has totally been playing, yeah. Sometimes you just miss things, I guess. But he are just beat up without Jimmy and Bam. I saw that. I mean, Martin's not great, but he'll put up 20 on a random night. Oladipo, I'm not really sure what he's gonna give you at this point. He's from Indiana. I've always been a big fan of Oladipo, but when we look, I mean, PJ Tucker having 23 and Kyle Lowry having 22, with them putting those numbers up and still losing, yes, Duncan Robinson and Tyler Hero didn't even combine for 20 points, but without Jimmy and Bam, I'm probably fading Miami just about every night. I like Cleveland. I don't really understand why they're winning all these games. I mean, Mobley and Allen, obviously great front court, especially as they get older. But yeah, I mean, I think that was pretty predictable. And what I got out of this is, especially with a team you can kind of rely on right now, like Cleveland, I'm fading Miami whenever they don't have Jimmy and Bam. Bucks Celtics. Okay, so I made a rule the other night where I basically said anytime the Bucks have the big three playing, Holiday, Middleton, and Giannis, I'm probably gonna bet on the Bucks. Tatum played great last night. Grant Williams played great. I mean, Jaylen Brown's back in the lineup. This team looked good. The Celtics, we know who they are pretty much. I think they're gonna be around the 4 spot in the East. Wouldn't surprise me if they get out of the first round. But I mean, Milwaukee is in a different conversation at this point, I'm going to say. And last night, Middleton left the game early. I got burned. There's nothing you can do about that. So I wasn't very upset. But I mean, yeah, if Middleton plays the whole game, I feel like the Bucks are definitely right there and can potentially win. Going on. Grizzlies have been playing good. Not much to say about this one. Embiid didn't play. When Embiid plays, I think the Sixers can beat about anyone, but obviously without Embiid in the lineup, it's never going to be very pretty for Philly, and we can see that. I mean, Clippers Suns was just an irrelevant game last night. You're not going to get much of anything from there. Phoenix now has 5 losses. Okay, so last 2 games here, we will go to Dallas. This game made no sense to me. I bet on the Hornets +5 and then doubled down on them to win the second half by 5 or more points. This game makes no sense. I don't like the Mavs. I don't think they have a very good team, but I know that when Luka is in the lineup, They can beat just about anyone. They just beat the Thunder without Luka. And I thought the Hornets would take care of things. Obviously, the Hornets are without LaMelo, without Plumlee too, I guess. But I don't see how they lose by that much. Miles Bridges, 7 points. Rozier and Hayward, that's fine. Oubre played fine. I mean, when you look at it, the Mavs just played well. This is an NBA game where you have Trey Burke putting up 22. Sometimes that just happens. But it's interesting to see Dallas without Luka because of obviously how much he carries the team. Yeah, I mean, this might prove the value of LaMelo Ball, being that without him, the Hornets just aren't that good. But I am definitely shocked by this one. Next, we have Wizards and Nuggets. A rule I might implement is take the Nuggets versus teams under 500 when they have Jokic. Obviously, the Wizards are not under 500, but they've been very spotty lately. Definitely have some decent players out. Bradley Beal putting up 19. I mean, let's see what he's averaging. 22 points per game on 44% shooting. I'm going to put Bradley Beal in that category of definitely his numbers taking a hit. I'm a big fan of him, but this doesn't really seem like that same situation where he just is the guy here and just hoops. Obviously, he's their best player, but now that we can kind of look at Washington as a legit playoff team the way they started out this year, it's just, I don't know. This is not a game they should have lost. I didn't want to bet on the Nuggets, and I did not bet on the Nuggets. But I mean, Barton out, Murray out, Porter out, and you have they're winning games. All this does for me, you won't hear this from the media, but from the YouTube videos I've watched, Jokic is clearly the best player in the NBA this season. And therefore, that's why I might implement that rule where you just take the Nuggets. When they play teams under 500, they're going to win these games and pile up. Obviously, no matter how good Jokic plays, especially in the West, there's just going to be that line of teams they can't beat. But I mean, beating Washington at home when they're just healthier than you are, that's a huge win. Dinwiddie, 9 points. I mean, let's look at what he's doing this year. 13 points per game. That's fine. But I mean, I guess I can see why Brooklyn would get rid of someone like Dinwiddie when this guy's not going to be getting the touches. And then you send him to Washington where he could easily be considered the second best player on his team, and he's not even averaging 15 points a game. And he's not even shooting 40%. That does it for last night. I mean, you can pretty much get the gist of what happened tonight. Warriors Knicks. The Warriors, I can definitely see in the last week or two, I think their play has slightly declined. Tonight, I think this is a night where a guy like Draymond, obviously he is going to be playing very hard. He knows what is potentially going to happen. And obviously Steph's going to break the record tonight. But I think that they're going to want to win this game and win big. I'm going to take the Warriors. Suns Trailblazers. something you'll learn. I hate the Trailblazers. I think they are in the worst position in the entire NBA. And anytime I get the chance to bet against them, I'm going to. Suns lost last night. I don't like betting on teams on the second end of the back-to-back. But Ayton and Booker did not play last night. They're both questionable tonight. I think if one of them plays, they win tonight. CJ McCollum's out. So I bet Suns money line minus 115. I know I could get burned, but I'm hoping that we get CP3 and one other member of the Big Three, and they win. Last game, Nets Raptors. So something I was looking at is that we see that the Nets just won with only KD playing. Now, that does look good from outside perspective, but we can see that they beat the fucking Pistons. I can't find this. 1 second. The 12th. This is what we're looking for. So they beat the Pistons by 12 points with KD having 51. Okay. Now, when we look at this team, there's no one that you can really rely on this bench. And that's why I'm not a big fan of Brooklyn. Bruce Brown is averaging 6.9 points. He's not someone that you can rely on to give you 15. Aldridge, 15 points. KD, 51. Cam Thomas, 13. Mills, 18. So when we look at Brooklyn and we look at injuries, I know that Aldridge is not playing tonight. KD's a game time decision. I'm assuming he'll play. You kind of have to think that with Harden and KD, they're going to win. But I'm just not going to touch it tonight because, like I just said, I do like Toronto's starting five. And obviously, if KD drops 40 or 50, they're probably going to win no matter what. But when you look at their scoring against the Pistons and you see that one of the only guys on the team capable of putting up more than 10 points is out in Aldridge, I mean, that doesn't look good. So 5 is definitely too many points for me to give. Potentially Nets money line live bet, but that's about all I have. Tomorrow, definitely more games, better games. Excited to continue this.